Hello, everybody. We are on live. I'm here with LaShonda Herring, and we're going to let you all get into the room for a second here. Wonderful to be here. We'll be getting started in just a couple of minutes. I see we have some people online right now. Carol and Carrie and Nadia, welcome, welcome. And I know there's some people who are won't be attending but signed up, and we'll be sending out the actual recording of this to all of you who signed up. And we're so glad that you are here. This is wonderful. LaShonda, how are you today?
I am excited and really glad to be here. So welcome you guys definitely for being here with us today.
Let's see. Hi, everyone from the UK. So Nadia said, hello, those of you in the UK. I know there's some people listening in from Canada, but hello to all the world. Isn't that what's wonderful about these webinars is that you can record them and send them to people, and people all over the world can come in and listen. And we're just going to go ahead and get started in about another 60 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a slide presentation. Just a moment here. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen here. Can you see the screen?
It's coming up. There it is.
All right, fantastic.
Perfect. So I get the honor and privilege of welcoming you guys here today, and you are in the right place if you came to learn the standout formula, if you want to know how to pivot your business and enhance your online presence. So I just want you to take a breath. If that's what you're looking for, then you are in the right place. Lynnis, why don't you tell them about sort of our housekeeping?
Sure, no problem. First of all, welcome, welcome. We're so excited that you've taken some time. We know your time is valuable to find out about this formula, the standout formula that we feel is really going to help you stand out online. But we want to make sure too that you are present, and so you can really benefit from what we're saying. So if possible, you know, don't check your phone for the next 40 minutes. I know that's hard. Ignore the pop-ups on your computer if possible, so you can really focus on some of the information that we want to share with you. And also, if you have any questions, please type them in the chat, and we will address those questions at the end of our presentation. So let's go ahead and get started.
Perfect. So we want to go over first what you guys will learn from being here with us today, sharing a little bit of your time. So we want you really to sit back, get in, and really take in this information. You're going to learn about the hidden problems that are really holding you back, and you may not even realize it when you think about your business and how to pivot it. We're also going to talk about, you know, how to get away from like those old strategies that we've been using that really don't produce results that we want. And then we're going to get into an exercise. We're going to do what we call the show and tell exercise to really help you identify your entrepreneurial persona. And then we're going to get into some tips and enhancing your online presence so that you can get results with ease.
So, wow. The world has certainly changed since we said Happy New Year, January 1st, 2020. In so many ways, the world has changed in ways that we couldn't possibly have imagined. In fact, I was just on a Facebook Live earlier this morning, and I was telling them that, you know, no time in human modern history have we been through so many things at once. And that really does take its toll. I mean, after all, we are in the middle of a pandemic. You know, when we first put this slide presentation together, LaShonda and I were thinking, well, the pandemic happened, but no, the pandemic is still happening. That's one thing for sure. And a lot of people are out of work. Also, we have less human contact. We're not able to see each other the way we normally would. We're not able to hug each other maybe the way we normally would. That has changed. And probably more specifically in terms of what we're going to talk about today, doing business the old way isn't really working anymore. Doesn't work the same way. We have different dynamics. And in some cases, our customers' needs are different as well.
Absolutely, Lynnis, you're right. And I'd love for you guys to put in the chat, like, how has your business changed because of this pandemic? And, you know, Lynnis, why don't you go first and share how you felt sort of the changes?
Well, you know, it's interesting because things were going really well in my business. I was excited. I was planning a trip to Costa Rica with my clients. We were going to be leaving in May. You know, everything, I collected all the money and all the arrangements had been made, plane reservations, hotel reservations, all the different practitioners who are going to be giving massages and all that stuff had been done because I am a certified holistic living and wellness expert. I specialize in working with women over 40. And the retreat was going to be in Costa Rica with these wonderful women who I had been developing relationships with for like 8 months leading up to this. But by March, Costa Rica was basically, for all practical purposes, shut down and closed. So one morning I woke up and I was in the black. Next morning I woke up and I was definitely not in the black. So, I mean, I had to make up my mind what I was going to do to regroup my losses because they were in the tens of thousands of dollars. And how was I going to not just turn my business around, but how was I going to save my business? So I had to do some things, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, the process I went through to basically pivot my business and survive and thrive while not being stressed out about it and actually having a lot of fun doing it. In fact, that's kind of how I ended up meeting LaShonda, right, LaShonda?
Absolutely. You know, it's funny, Lynnis and I have similar stories. You know, last year I was out and I pivoted my business last year to do more in-person stuff. I'm a business strategist. I consider myself a guide for my clients, helping them really put together businesses that they absolutely love, that are in line with who they are and their authentic self, so that my clients really create their joy and not another job. So I was having a ball doing that up and down the East Coast and doing webinars and not webinars, but actually workshops in person and speaking gigs. And all of a sudden this year, the pandemic happened, right? And so I was like, okay, the plan I had last year isn't going to work for this year. So what am I going to do? You know, I'd been in business for 5 years and things were going really well and momentum was picking up. And all of a sudden I felt like I was punched in the gut. And the pandemic happened and it was like, okay, I've got to refocus. I've got to reshift. And I had spent less time online last year and it was like, okay, I need to pivot. And I need to get back online. But a key thing for my business was partnerships, was really meeting some phenomenal people. And like Lynnis said, that's the joy of having your own business, is that I get to pick and choose who I deal with every day. So I got to build this wonderful partnership with people who have a different zone of genius than me. And Lynnis is social media guru, and that was really important for me and is important for my clients. So this alliance has taught me things, has helped me, but we've also been able to bring something together for people who it wasn't there before and now really need it because of this pandemic.
Absolutely.
And you know, if you're like me and Lynnis, you know, I know you're here because you need results, right? You need things to be different. You want to be more visible online. You really want to contact those clients and get the people that you deserve. And you want to keep your business alive during this time. You want it to not just be alive, but even thrive and even grow, you know? And it's like, how do you create what you want? How do you really strategize and be profitable in what everybody's calling this new normal, right? Those are like, we have such key big phrases nowadays that are coming out, but we need new ways to create our businesses, to make them grow, to find those customers. Maybe they're the same customers, maybe they're different customers, but we need new ways of doing that, and networking and partnerships. You know, I was doing a lot of networking in person. Now it's like, okay, we've got to shift. So if you guys are there and you want to find your clients, you want to grow your business, then you're in the right place. We just want to say that again to you, because we were feeling those struggles and those challenges as well.
And, you know, for me, I was already online. And if you are already online, some things have changed as well. I mean, you're wondering, okay, am I being my real self now, or am I being what I think I should be? You might also be wondering, are you showing your clients and customers who you really are so they know, like, and trust you, since you're going to be shifting maybe and doing more online? Is your online presence what you really want it to be? And also, do you even have the right vibe? How can you tell? How does your vibe impact your business? These are all things that we, should be considering and taking a look at when we're pivoting our business and doing more things online.
So we promised you guys that we would explain the standout formula. And I got to tell you, I was super, super excited how this happened. You know, when Lynnis talks about a vibe and us coming together, this really came out. I feel like it was definitely a divine download that came to us when we looked at the pictures of our business and how things were coming together for us. This strategy is just something we've been doing and didn't put names to it. And so this came out organically, but divinely guided. So I got to say that. So the first part of the standout strategy is the S, right? And S is for, do you have systems and strategies that really work for your business? Because we all need them, because we need to do it with ease, because most people I know are solopreneurs. So we definitely need systems in place to help us keep track and stay on task. We also need to know the technology. There's new platforms that are coming out daily now because we're now at home and working from home. So do you know the technology side? Do you have things in place to make it easier? And then your avatar, that's your ideal client. Do you have a sense of who they are now? Because maybe with the pandemic and things changing, maybe your avatar has changed. Maybe you want to target someone different. Maybe you're offering new products and services. And then another piece of that is the need. What is your ideal client, your avatar's needs? Because now with the pandemic, we've been hit, but they may have also been hit. So have their needs changed? Has their priority of problems and issues that they want to get fixed, has that changed as well? So those are really key points we want to look at. And then the other one, D, and you're like, doubt, what does doubt have to do with it? Well, think about it. A lot of the books that are out there talk about mindset and entrepreneur, not mindset. They say that is really what drives your business and takes you to the next level. Well, those doubts and that mindset are the things that stop you. So we want to look at that to make sure you're not getting in the way of your success. And online, well, you know what online is, right? But we want to think about online as to say, what do you look like as a whole? When you look down and you look at all the platforms and your website and even like lead pages, all of that kind of stuff, what do you look like online? Do you have all the key pieces? Do you have that funnel online that's working properly? The umbrella, the U. The U is about the skills. And this is where I love to play, because this is about your unique skills and talents, those sacred gifts, what I call those entrepreneur superpowers. What are those things that you uniquely bring to the table? Because that's going to be crucial in helping you stand out. And the T is for that transformation. What is it that you bring to the table and offer for your clients, and the change that you want to see that nobody else is really doing your way? And how do you say that? How do you bring that message forward? So you need all of these components to be out there and to be really successful right now in what we call this new normal.
And, I wanted to stress, when it comes to the umbrella piece, you'll be surprised at how many gifts, talents, and abilities that you have that you may not currently be using, that maybe you could use now, and end up creating a whole new product line that may meet your customer needs, or may qualify for a whole new kind of avatar for your customers. That's what happened with me when I began to realize that, without really thinking about it, I had become an expert in online strategy. I've been doing this every day almost for 12 years, being online. I started online doing business in 2009. actually 2008, but 2009 is when I really started spending more time. And back then it was very new. So I didn't have anyone to benchmark, didn't have anyone to ask a lot of questions with in terms of social media, which platform, what to say, how to do it. And I had to learn as I went. But what happened was that I ended up getting the skill set that I didn't even realize I had until I went through that umbrella part of the strategy and said, oh my gosh, I can do this. Hadn't even thought about it because I had kind of taken those skills and those other kinds of abilities, kind of taken them for granted. So let's take a survey and see where you stand on that. First, go ahead, LaShonda.
There we go. Yeah, no, what I was going to say is, so guys, have a pen and paper out, and make sure that, you know, and here's the thing, we don't want you to get too deep about this and really overanalyze this at all. You know, we just want to kind of get a snapshot of where you are right now in the moment with your business. Where are you? So on a scale of 1 to 5, we're going to use that for all of the sort of questions we have for this survey. 1 is the bottom, like, no, don't really have it, it's missing. And 5 being the top, I've mastered it, I got it. So for everything that we're asking, that's the number scale you're going to do. And I want you to pick just the first number that pops into your brain. Don't overthink it. It's okay. So the first one's on the screen, and that is strategy and systems. On a scale of 1 to 10, how well are the strategies and systems you have in place now working in your business? All right, and the next one is technology. And what we want to look at with technology is how well is the technology that you have in place working for you? On a scale of 1 to 5, is the technology not working? Is it not getting you the results you want? Or is it like, oh, this is a powerhouse and it's always bringing me clients, it's always bringing me leads, it's making my day easy? So on a scale of 1 to 5, what does that look like right now in your business? The next one is your avatar, your ideal client. Right now, would you say during this time of this pandemic and all that's going on, that you have an excellent, clear sense of your avatar, that you have nailed it? That would be a 5. A 1 would be like, I don't really have a clue because I think what I was going for before maybe isn't working now. And somewhere maybe in the middle thinking, yeah, I think I have it, but maybe like Lynnis said, maybe you want to shift. Maybe you want to change. So what is that number for you right now?
And in terms of your customers' needs, where are you with that? Do you really know what they need? Are you sure? Are you clear about that? If you are, and you're really sure about that, that's a 5. But if you're not sure, or if you're feeling like you need to change or that you need to reassess, then maybe you're somewhere like a 3, or perhaps you don't really know anymore, and that would make you a 1. And what about you in terms of how you're feeling about your business right now? Are you really, sure-footed in terms of where you want to go next? You're focused, you're, on that journey and it's going well? Or are you kind of like, gee, I don't know, waffling in between? Or do you really not know because things have changed so much? There are some people, I'll give you a good example. A friend of mine who had a travel business online. She went from, having lots of customers and doing great to 0. So you can imagine when this first happened, she had a lot of doubts in terms of, I don't know what I'm going to do. So where do you fall on a scale from 1 to 5? 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. And when it comes to being online, where are you in that? How do you view your social media? Are you on social media at all? Are you doing well? Are you getting followers? Or do you seem to be stagnant? Or have you not really done that at all, except for maybe some personal social media, but not so much in terms of your business? Maybe you had a brick and mortar, or maybe did more things in person, or maybe you're new to coaching or a new entrepreneur or something, and you're just not quite sure where to start, and it's overwhelming. 5 would be you already have something in place, and 1 would be I don't know what to do. And then your umbrella, which is one of my favorite ones, is assessing where you are right now in terms of all your skill sets. Do you know what all your skills are? Have you assessed that? Are you using all those skills? Are there any new skills that you need to add to your toolkit? So if you have everything you need for where you want to go, you're a 5. If you don't have anything, you're not sure, you'd be a 1, or perhaps you're somewhere in between. I know for me, when I had to make that assessment, I felt I was like somewhere in between, because at that point, all I knew was that I needed to do something to recoup that loss. But I had to stop and really take a look and assess my skill set. And, you know, for me, I ended up being like about a 3. But I would like to say now I'm more like a 4, because the things that I didn't have, I went ahead and got. So this is a really strategic one. Okay. And LaShonda.
Great. And that last one is that transformation. That is, how clear are you with knowing the transformation that you provide for your avatar, for your client? Are you able to really communicate that message really well so that people are raising their hand and saying, yes, I want that transformation? And so that would be a 5, saying, yes, my people are raising their hand. They know what that transformation is. I'm able to do that easily, no problem. A 1 is, I'm not sure now because maybe their needs have changed. And a 3 might be, I kind of have a sense, but I'm not fully sort of confident in what that transformation is or how I want to present it now that we're in this pandemic kind of era. So guys, you have all 8 of them. So I hope you guys have rated them. I hope you've had some sort of, I didn't think of that kind of eye-opening experiences with that, with the formula and with this survey, to really know where you stand. Because I think it's important for us, before we move forward, before we take on a new strategy, before we do anything, that we assess where we are at the present moment. And we try to decide where we need to go next. And that is so important. So while you guys are still writing and kind of in this writing mode, we're going to kind of move on to an exercise. Cool. So I like this exercise. It's kind of cool. So you guys are still in your mode and your thinking brain. We want to kind of keep using that and keep on that kind of mode. We're going to go into the show and tell exercise. So what I want you to think about, the first step of the show and tell exercise, right? The first component is what we call the core and the heart. So you know yourself as an entrepreneur. A lot of you may have been in business for a moment. Some may be new, but you still have a sense of what you want to be as an entrepreneur. I want you to think about, what are some core values that I hold as an entrepreneur? And what is really, really pulling at my heart that I feel as an entrepreneur I want to bring forth? So for example, a core value for you might be, I'm honest. I want to be honest in my message. I want to be honest in what I do. Something that can pull it on your heart is you want to make a difference in other people's lives. You want to make an impact in the world. So just kind of using words, even a little short phrase is okay, but describe yourself right now as the entrepreneur that you are, and hope that you're bringing forth to the world, because that's always our hope, that who we are is what we're showing. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. We're going to give you a few seconds to figure out, maybe about 30, to figure out write down some answers to that question. What are your core sort of values, the things you want to show up as an entrepreneur, and what are those things that just pull at you that you want to represent as an entrepreneur? Like if you want to represent, you know, I want to be honest, I want to be trustworthy, whatever that is for you guys. No judgment. That's the other piece. Don't judge what you're going to write down. Don't figure out if it's good enough. Just write it. And I'm be quiet now. All right. So the next one is about a feeling and a mood. So with this one here, you want to really think about, what is the feeling and mood I want my avatar, my ideal clients to have when they come into my business, into my world, whether it's a website, whether it's online, whatever that is, when they interact with you, what do you want them to feel? What kind of mood do you want to show? You know, some people, like Lynnis is in wellness, she said, right? So that's vibrancy, that's joy, that's energy. That's a kind of energy and a mood that people want. Yeah, right? When you think of health and wellness, that's what you want to feel. You don't want to feel the opposite of tired and dragging. So what is that mood? What is that feeling that you want people to have? Some people, they deal really delicate work. Like I know people who deal with women who've been abused. So they want a feeling of safety. Right? When you come into their space, when you come in and you're dealing with them, whether it's online or it's their website, they want a feeling of safety because that's so important for their clients because of what they've been through. So we really want you to think about that and write down a word or two or a few that really talk about the mood and the feel you want to portray and you want your clients to have when they come into your presence, whether it is your website, whether it is online, or on Zoom, because now it's not really face-to-face, but on a platform like Zoom. What is that feeling or mood that you have? And we'll give you a few seconds to kind of just brainstorm that a bit.
And LaShonda, just to make sure that we are clear, the 1 to 5 rating, 1 is doing not so great, 5 is doing fantastic, or is the other way around?
Nope, you've got it right.
Okay.
1 not so great, 5's the best.
Okay, fantastic. That's why I thought that was the case, but I just wanted to make sure. Sometimes I overthink things. Like, wait a minute, which one is it? Okay. And here we go. Okay, what about what you wear? Literally and figuratively. When you are in front of a client or doing a webinar like this, or your pictures on social media and things like that, what is it that you want to convey? Do you want to convey someone who loves vibrant colors? Because like me, I'm in wellness, so I want to, as LaShonda said, be able to show an image that's vibrant and energetic and well. As my coach once told me, I am my branding. So if I'm not looking good, not feeling good, that's probably not the best time for me to be taking pictures for my new banners and things like that, because I want to present vibrancy and wellness. What is it that you want to present? And how do you go about looking that way? What kind of clothes do you want to wear? What does your hair look like? Do you wear makeup or not? And if you do, what kind of makeup? Is it really heavy or light or natural looking? So what are the things that you want to convey in terms of the way you look? Because believe it or not, on social media in particular, online, that is very important because they can't see you, they can't feel you, they can't touch you. So therefore, you have to use all the components that are available to you to be able to leave an impression in terms of the messaging that you want to convey. So let me just give you about 30 seconds to think about that. What do you wear? What do you look like online? Okay, and the last one that you should be thinking about is say it out loud. Actually, it's the second to last one. Say it out loud, meaning what is your messaging? How are you going to come across when you're messaging people, when you're actually writing your content? Do you write in the third person? Do you write in the first person? Do you use a lot of adjectives and superlatives? Or are you very straightforward, like a technical writer or something? How do you want to say it? And what messages do you want to convey? I know when I first got started with my messaging on social media, I knew that I definitely want to be able to convey positiveness. So I started out doing a lot of affirmations and also quotes that were positive, that also fed into whatever it was or product or service that I was going to be promoting. I wanted to first establish with the people who followed me that I was a positive person, that I was a spiritual person, that I had a high belief in our abilities to achieve whatever we set our mind to achieve. So in order to do that, I focused on affirmations, sometimes scripture, sometimes quotes from Buddha, you know, different kinds of spirituality approaches, so that people could understand in my messaging the kind of person that I was. And then that way that could give them a better opportunity to get to know me and whether I'm someone that they would want to do business with. So how do you want to come across when it comes to what your messaging is going to be? So I'll give you a little bit to write that down. And then we have one more that LaShonda's going to do. Okay, LaShonda.
Cool. So the last one ties it all together, show and tell. Like why we call this exercise the show and tell, because what we sometimes don't realize is that when we're online, we're meeting people, we're doing our business, we're constantly showing and telling all at the same time simultaneously. You know, if you think of some place like Instagram, for example, Instagram is a bunch of pictures, right? So we're showing people who we are, how we function as an entrepreneur. But somewhere in there, you might put words on there or a quote. So that's telling them. We're showing and telling, and we're doing that ebb and flow all the time. And we need to make sure that we're doing that effectively, to make sure that our true messaging and who we really are is coming through with what we present online and as an entrepreneur, and that it's clear. You know, and we've been doing, and think about this is nothing new, but we've been doing show and tell since what, kindergarten, right? You bring your favorite thing and you show your teacher and you show your class, hey, look at what I'm so excited about. And sometimes I think we forget that energy when we're online, when we're even going through and creating programs. Do you have that energy about it? Are you so excited to say, hey, look at this really cool thing that I love? Because that's part of being authentic with our programming, with our products that we produce, is that we're showing and telling ourselves as well, our authentic selves of who we are as an entrepreneur. So I want you guys to think about that. And that's a longer process, which we're not going to get into at this moment, but want you guys to think about how are you showing and telling in your business on a daily basis.
So, you know, we really have been where you are, where you might be. You're here for this webinar for various purposes, but the bottom line is that you know that maybe you need to do something different, that circumstances have changed. And you might be here because this is an opportunity to learn more about how to show up online. Your circumstances may have changed. Perhaps it's overwhelming, trying to decide what to do next. Especially if you don't have a strategic plan. I know what that's like. I went through that too. When I first got started, there were so many things I thought I wanted to do, but I really didn't have a plan. I'll tell you a funny story about that. I was actually on internet radio, Voice America, long before I had a client or a product. And finally, when I figured out that a like didn't equal $1, that's when, or a follower on my radio show didn't necessarily equal $1. That's when I said, whoa, wait a minute. What am I selling? What are my products and services? Also, you might need to figure out how to address the needs of the changing business culture and demographic. You know, I've had to change my business several times to meet the need of the changing demographic. You know, many of my followers that started following me were in their 40s when I first got started 12 years ago. I was 51 when I got started. Well, they've gotten older right along with me. So now they're in their 50s, and I still get new followers who are in their 40s, but a lot of them are in their 50s. So, you know, some of the things I talk about change as a result. And the next thing is, you know, we decided that the only way was to assess our strengths. That's the only way that you can begin to figure out how to move forward in this changing environment. You know, to redefine your ideal customer, to meet their needs with new products and new services. Both LaShonda and I have had to pivot and stand out.
Yeah, and you're right, Lynnis. And I want you to look at the formula again and kind of put it in context of where you are with your business and what's going on right now in this new climate. You know, like Lynnis was talking about with strategies and systems, I had to go back and reevaluate because I was doing things in person, and how you show up in person is so different than what you do online. And so I had to come up with looking at systems and putting systems in place so I could function without feeling overwhelmed, especially online, you know, because that's a different animal, that's a different beast. And with technology, when we look at that T, those of you who know me know I am not the techie person by any stretch of the imagination. So I always feel like, look, if you guys, if I can operate a bit online, then you guys should be able to do this too. Because the technology to me just sounds like blah, 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 blah. You know, like Charlie Brown, that wah, wah, wah. That's what it sounds when people start talking technology and in those terms, I kind of glaze over and zone out. But there is a piece of that that you need. And there's an overarching sort of basis of that and understanding that I realized that I had to zone in and sit in and be like, okay, LaShonda, you have to learn some things to make life easier for me. Mm-hmm. And my avatar, oh my gosh, those of you know, I had to really get clear about that avatar and who that is and what that person feels like and looks like, and go in depth with that because it's really, really important. And makes your job easier when you're out there trying to find them if you know exactly what you're looking for. So, you know, to go in depth with the technology, the strategies, you know, that's something Lynnis and I have worked on and created a resource for that, a real great program to be able to bring that to people because we want you to be able to tease it out in a shorter period of time and not have to spend the years and the hours that we spent doing that. And the last, and we, but you see us smiling because we have stories about that.
Yeah, really.
Totally. You know, and the last one, N. Need. Oh my gosh. I don't know about you guys, but when you think about what is priority for people now, it's so different than it was 6 months ago. And I had to think about that too. Like, realistically, I love helping people be their authentic selves. But how do you bring that forth in a business that's viable, that's profitable, that's enjoyable? You know, my word for this year is fun. So I want fun for me in my business, but I also want to be able to give that to my clients because they got away from a 9 to 5 because one, they had a passion, but two, they just didn't want to do that grind and that hustling anymore. They wanted to do something more meaningful that was more purposeful. So that's really important.
It is. And, you know, with D for doubts, this is probably one of the biggest things that we as entrepreneurs go through. I know I have that. Every day I have to kind of recheck in with myself to make sure I'm overcoming some of those doubts, that negative self-talk, those blocks that we put up subconsciously for ourselves. Both LaShonda and I are experienced in how to remove those blocks, how to change those energies, how to get you on the right path so that you can really leverage what you're learning and what you're implementing with a positive, forward-thinking attitude and not letting your doubts get in the way to stopping you from where we know that you can go. And the O for online, again, taking a look at those platforms. Which ones do you really want to be on? I have a funny story about that too. In fact, someone said the other day, said, Lynnis, you're on everything. Believe me, that is not what I would advise you to do today, to be on every single platform. And I am. And what happens is when you're on all those platforms, you feel the need to kind of maintain it. I no longer feel that need because I know where my customers are now. I know where my avatar is. So I'm no longer, I might be on 15 different platforms, but I'm maintaining maybe only 3 or 4. And I would help you, since I am the online strategist, figure out where your customer base really is, what they're doing on that platform, what their expectation is, what's making them click, and how you can fit that into your strategy. And also your umbrella. Many times after you figured out what you want to do online in terms of where you want to be, what platform and everything else, you want to take a look at the umbrella skill set. Okay, what do I need to learn in order to operate those platforms, or maybe you already have some of those skills and you don't even know. Like I know some people will say, oh God, I hate to write. Okay, well then maybe that's one good reason that Twitter might be great, because you only have like 240 characters, boom, put your message out there, you're done. You know, if that's where your customer base is. Or maybe if your writing is not your thing, maybe you don't necessarily need to have a blog. Maybe you need to have a vlog where you're videoing, you're doing a video blog basically, talking to your audience about things that normally you would write. When you're looking at the umbrella, you're looking at all the skill sets that you've developed since the beginning of time, basically, since you've been a professional, and how you can incorporate that into your business in a way that it adds value. And finally, T, transformation. How do you take all of this? You know, your strategy, your tech, your new avatar, assessing the needs, you know, overcoming those doubts, getting that presence online that you want, assessing all your skill sets, and transform your business to one that's fun, that's minimizing your stress, where you can do it with ease, and, oh yeah, make money. That's the other thing too. How do you do all of that? So that's why we feel the standout formula is so impactful, because we cover all of that. So imagine that if you knew the steps to take to pivot your business, if you knew this, and just imagine if you were able to pivot your business with ease and no stress. And imagine how it would feel to be able to make that pivot in your business with experienced guidance and support with entrepreneurs like us who have been there. And also, you're getting the results much sooner than you expected, without spending hours and hours, and may I say, without spending all of that money that you didn't have to spend.
Yeah. Or you can do the crazy thing like I did.
Or like me.
You know, and we're laughing because it's like, you know, when you start this business and you have this passion and you feel like I can just do it and you can conquer the world. And when you get out there and you see all the nuances, you kind of look like the lady in the picture. You're like, oh crap, like there's so much going on, you know, and when you go it alone, it looks different. It looks like you're going back to school. Even if you didn't want to go back to school, it feels like you're going back to school because there's so much you have to learn. And oh my gosh, how many of you have heard about testing and split testing and all the stuff you have to do to see if something works, and you're doing it by yourself. And so you're trying to figure out, well, did this test work? Did that thing work? And how many hours are you spending over and over learning the how-tos of online or even strategies or funnel systems or lead generating and the platforms that go with all of that, and the webinars that are hours and hours of your time, and the Google searches. And maybe if you're lucky, you have a platform that actually has a help desk that you can actually talk to a real person. You know, we've spent that time and that energy, and we've spent, oh my God, I don't even want to say the money of how much money I have spent without getting the results, because I decided to do it by myself, not realizing I was working outside of my zone of genius. I wasn't in my zone of genius. And the time and energy that I spent on it was so much, and I can't get that time back. Can I make more money? Yeah, because I can work smarter now, because I'm utilizing my resources properly. But I wasn't doing that before. And social media and marketing was the thing that was like, I did not go into business to do that. I went into business to help other people get their dreams manifested and make them tangible. But the hours I was spending on marketing away from actually working with my clients was way out of my zone of genius. And I didn't like it. And I felt like this lady on so many times, probably even worse, because I've spent many times crying about the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know, but we all have the option to choose that if we desire. And I want to thank you too, because I saw some comments earlier, Lynnis, when people were doing the survey about, you know, how certain things were very clear when they were taking the survey and other things vary. And I mentioned that as well. I think that's really important to give yourself that freedom to know that, yeah, you gave a number, but if I ask you tomorrow, it may be different. So thank you for saying that and for bringing that to people's attention, because yeah, we're not stagnant beings.
No, it changes every day. I mean, just a couple of days ago, I would say my doubt thing was way up there. you know, because of what was, and actually the dynamics had to do with what was going on in the world. There was just so much going on. Then I said, okay, wait a minute, let me do this. Turn off the television and let me go back into my zone, my zen, and focus on what's, you know, ultimately really important. So yeah, it changes. And that's why it helps to have the support, because very rarely are you always on the same page as everyone else. But when LaShonda's up, you know, maybe I'm down, she can pull me up, and vice versa. And that's what we can do for you as well. Now, there are some people who weren't able to join us today, but they did send a couple of questions, and I want to address those questions because they're going to be getting this recording. One of the questions was, how long? LaShonda, how long is the program again? Can you kind of reiterate that?
Absolutely. So the training program itself, that's our group program, that is an 8-week program. So if you're interested in that and that group dynamic and you want the information right away, really quick, we have the 8-week program. The other program, the private one-on-one coaching session, that's 6 months. 6 months. And the reason for that is because it's very detailed. We want to make sure that we're really, like when Lynnis says a blueprint, it is not going to be a generic blueprint. It is specifically for you and your business and what's going on. So that we want to hold your hand longer to make sure it's implemented correctly and it's doing what it needs to do.
Okay, and here's another one. When does the program start? And that's funny because as we were talking about it this morning, like, oh yeah, that's right. We don't have when it starts. It starts August 3rd. I said, oh, we start a new group every day. No, it starts August 3rd. That's when it starts. And we don't have a cap in terms of how many people in the group or how many people one-on-one training. I think we're just going to kind of go for how it feels for us, but we would love to have at least 10 women taking the group. I think it would be great if you could do that. But it starts August 3rd. And the exact time, I'm not sure, probably around 10 a.m. We'll have to figure that part out. But it will be live, always. And I think that what you were saying, LaShonda, about how things are changing. I mean, really, right now, we're living life operating without a net. I mean, that's true. We really are. There's a lot of things we don't really know yet. So stuff will change. And when that happens, we want to change with it. But just know that even though you might be feeling like you're operating without a net and things are changing, you can still have success in your business. You can still make money. It's still out there. Don't let anybody tell you that there's no money out there to be made. There absolutely is. And I'll tell you why I know that. Last quarter, I had the most successful quarter that I've had in my business in the last 3 years. Right in the middle of a pandemic, you know, so, but I think a lot of that has to deal with mindset. I was determined. Now, oh, she said, oh, thank you. Oh, okay, what are the costs? Okay, let's go over this. You want to go over the cost again, LaShonda?
Yeah, sure. So for the 8-week program that we're doing, the cost of that is $697. And also, we didn't mention, it wasn't on the slide, but I want to mention that to people because we know situations are different. There is a payment plan available. So those who need that, it is an option, as well as like PayPal offers credit as well. So let us know if that is something that you need. We'll put the email in there, but it's basically standoutformula@gmail.com for this particular program. We wanted to keep it really simple, but definitely send us an email. And for the one-on-one sort of coaching program, I will let you know it is under $5,000 for both of us for 6 months. So I need you to hear that. And that, you know, that in itself, the cost of that, I think we calculated was almost a couple $100 a day, a month. I'm sorry, a couple of $100 a month, and you get 2 coaches and you get weekly sessions with us.
Yeah, I mean, we were going over those numbers, and it was interesting. I always let her do it because she's the business lady, and that's one of my blocks that I've always had to work on is talking about money. And I'm telling you, it was really funny when my husband was, you know, looking at our bank balance after I had been in business for 2 years, and he's like, Lynnis, zero. I know you have like 1,000 people following you on Facebook, but a like does not equal $1. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. I need to focus on the money piece. So that helped me to learn to overcome that, because I was so preoccupied with, you know, social media is so much fun, that I lost my way in terms of what my strategy is. And that's why it's so important to have a strategy so that you don't lose your way. And I can certainly save you time and money when it comes to the whole social media piece, because there's some little tricks I have up my sleeve where it might seem like I'm spending a lot of time on my media. I am not. So, and then, another question was, why now? Why is it a good time?
Oof, you know, here's the deal, guys. You know, it's funny. I was just on a business call. We have a networking group locally, but we've been meeting online that I co-facilitate with someone. And realistically, listening to those women talk about their business and what's going on, and unfortunately, one of our members, 3 of her family members, just got diagnosed this week with the virus. And we were talking about, in the midst of all of this, how do we create? How do we come out of this better than where we are now? Better than where we started? This is an opportunity, and those of you who know me know I'm very spiritual. This is an opportunity that the universe is giving us to create anew. To create a new in your business, to create a new maybe funnel and stream of income, but to create in a way that feels good to you, that's authentically you. And so in the midst of, you know, tragedy or trauma, whatever you want to label it, we can create such beautiful things and great things. And that's what I think about our collaboration. It's amazing, because maybe if this pandemic didn't happen, we wouldn't be here offering this to you. And we really want to be of service as well, because that's why I talked about the private coaching that we're doing. It's under $5,000 for both me and Lynnis for 6 months. And let me be really clear, that is what I call the pandemic price, because that won't happen again at that level, at that rate, because most of you know, who've been out there for a while, know realistically, you can get one coach if you're lucky for 6 months for $5,000 or above, and we're not even at the $5,000 range, by the way. No. We're offering the 6-month program for. So I want you to be really clear that we're here to make sure that people's businesses keep thriving. That's really important. Our economy needs it, but also, like Lynnis was talking about, mindset and vibration. We need that in our world right now. We need people to keep going, to keep creating, to keep thriving. That's so right. That we come out of this pandemic so much better than in the midst of it.
That's right. So when you talk about why now, why not now? You know, there's no time, no better time than the present to be able to begin that process of standing out and pivoting your business and getting online and doing it in a way that is easier for you, and in a way where you're still having fun and you're on to your way to making money. So I want to end this, because I said we're going to take no more than an hour, and we're at 1 hour and 11 minutes, but I hope you've enjoyed the presentation. I hope that we've shed some light on some things that you want to be thinking about as you move forward in your business. We're so glad that you decided to sign up for the webinar, and we're looking forward to working with you. I just know that there's someone out there who's going to say, you know what, I do need the help, and I'm tired of spinning my wheels. I'm not getting anywhere, and I need to be able to move forward, and I need the help to do that. And we are the ladies to help you with that. So thanks so much for hanging out with us and finding out about how to pivot your business. Thanks, LaShonda.
Thank you, Lynnis, and thank you, ladies, for showing up.